So once again, Happy New Year to you all. I hope the celebrations last night for you, if you celebrated, were meaningful. And for those of you who had a really good time, I hope you are hydrating this morning. But it's the new year now, and it's a natural time to think about what's happened in the past year, of course, and to think about what the new year holds for us. And maybe it's a good time to take an opportunity gathered in your homes, all snug where you are and safe, to talk a little more about the thing on so many of our minds, maybe the thing you've been asking others about all night and maybe this morning still. I mean, it's only human, it's only natural to want to know who will win the Bills and Bengals game tomorrow. But don't feel left out if you cannot be bothered with something like football, because there is another great sporting event that kicks off today. It's a race, it's a sprint, really, throughout this country, straight to the nearest gym. That's right. It's that time of year, friends. It is resolution time. Now, I know you've been thinking about it. You might even have been talking about it. But one way or another, the cultural phenomenon of considering what we want to do different this year, what we want to do new, is on our minds, right? And what is the most common resolution in these United States? Getting in better shape. That's right. Now, don't put down that champagne or that eggnog, friends. Don't put down that kolache just yet, because what is also the most commonly broken resolution in the United States? Getting in better shape. Oh, yes. The great whirring sound you're hearing right now is the spinning of gym doors all over the country, revolving round and round with new members signing up, doing a few minutes on the elliptical, then heading home, never to be heard from again. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Now, I know some of you are thinking, hold on, Reverend TJ. We don't go in for that worldly gym body, gym having, gym attending madness this time of year, and that's great. Maybe you're more evolved, more enlightened, more spiritual. Maybe you're more religious. That's great. So let's dig into that a little bit. New Year's resolutions, friends, have their roots in faith. That's right. As far back as good old Babylon, more than 4,000 years ago, at the beginning of the new year, people would make affirmations of being closer or more attendant to their God in the coming year. In Judaism, the weeks of Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah that herald the start of the Jewish New Year are tied inextricably to our relations with God and those around us. And many of our neighbors here in Methodist churches, which there are many in the neighborhood, celebrated last night Watch Night. They herald the new year with prayer and renewal and singing and communion. We can't get away from it, friends. It's cultural and religious institutions all over the world want us to make resolutions. Their business models depend on it. Now, luckily, other experiences and opinions of revolutions or resolutions seem also to be well intact. There's a great piece about resolutions that someone over at Merriam-Webster found, written in 1802 in Walker's Hibernian magazine. For those of you not up on your early 1800s magazines, Walker's was sort of like the Irish version of the Atlantic Monthly that we have today. In an 1802 article, the author shared his views about New Year's resolutions. I quote, "The following personages have begun the year with a string of resolutions which they all solemnly pledge to keep. Statesmen have resolved to have no other object in view than the good of their country. The physicians have determined to prescribe no more than is necessary and to be very moderate in their fees." Now, as old as resolutions may be, I don't know if it's comforting or alarming to discover jokes from across an ocean and more than 2 centuries that would be at home on Weekend Update from Saturday Night Live or at home on Stephen Colbert's opening monologue that are also being made about resolutions today. Politicians have ulterior motives. Physicians overprescribing medications, medical costs spiraling out of control. The more things change, the more they stay the same. These are all things, in fact, that have been addressed right from this pulpit in just the last few months. Are there any resolutions, though, taking all this into consideration, that are really worth making? In our reading, Malika Rao suggests quitting as a resolution. Now that's pretty meta, I know. Her resolution is to embrace the everything in moderation approach. What Rao proposes, though, is hard. Her own resolution, one of a moderate approach to everything, has borne spiritual fruit in a range of religions, philosophies, and customs over time. She named one common one in Sweden, and moderation was a key tenet in much of ancient Greek thought. And her approach sounds a lot like the principle of the middle way in Zen Buddhism. Now, any Buddhist will tell you that the middle way isn't just something you sort of stumble into or just kind of fall upon in your life. It's a deep and spiritual practice to find a place between self-denial and self-indulgence. And it is not an easy practice today, I will tell you. I was at the grocery store the other day, and they have a special area for the vegan snackers over there in the bakery. When you say a secret vegan password, a set of faux pearly gates open and a chorus of vegan angels actually sing your praises. It's pretty great. And in that section, I saw the biggest, most ridiculous vegan cinnamon roll I have ever seen. It was baked by the Sinful Bakery based here in Texas. It was so big, it was literally popping out of the plastic clamshell that was trying to contain it. Its awesomeness, though, would not be contained. A perfect act of self-denial for many simply would be to eat this because it has no eggs or milk or butter in it. Okay. But it's also enormous, and it's filled with tons of sugar, which is highly indulgent. So what was my middle way here? How was I supposed to practice the right amount of frivolity and enjoyment here? How was I supposed to practice lagom like the Swedes, like our author suggests? What should I do? Well, I don't want to get too far into that evening, but in the morning I went right to the gym and signed up for a new membership. Because that is what we do, friends. We fail sometimes. We'd hardly be human if we didn't. We go too far, we love too little, we love too much, we overdo it, we undersell it, we tick people off, we forget, we miss stuff, and sometimes we are flat out wrong. And maybe resolutions we think about this time of year are a way to address what some of us still struggle with our very present and our very real humanity. Now, as Unitarian Universalists, we do an incredible job of teaching our children about the sacredness of their body. And this church puts itself on the line regularly to uphold the sacred choice of bodily autonomy for all. The sanctity of the body in so many ways here in our lives is paramount. It's great. But we still live in the world, friends, with these bodies. And when our bodies start to let us down with illness, or when we start to believe that virtually unattainable bodies are a societal norm, which if you spend any time on social media, that message might come in loud and clear. If we start to feel that, if we start to see that, we might experience some fear or shame or disappointment or even self-criticism coming up, and maybe coming out as a New Year's resolution. Now, at a famous meal many, many years ago, these words were spoken. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. And I think that right there, whether you believe in the tradition that Jesus was raised in or the tradition that his followers founded in his memory, in his name, on his teachings, or indeed if you believe any of the other traditions that place food and renewal right next to each other, this prayer, this wisdom, holds part of the answer so many of our revolving doors in life depend on. No matter what they may be for you, nourishment and forgiveness. Those two things are in the same sentence for a reason. Anthony DeMello, one of the funniest, most incisive writers about faith in the last century, ends his book Awareness with a sort of sermon. In it, he says, the most important thing anyone can do is nourish themselves with good food. And he makes clear that he doesn't just mean food that we eat for energy. He explains that relationships, that beauty, that nature, all the things in life that nourish us should be just as important to us as regularly eating the food we need. Because I don't know about you, friends, but I need every bit of that energy, every piece of that nourishment, every spiritual calorie in this world that seems to be going mad. I need that to forgive and to forgive and to forgive. And that's just after 5 minutes on the Dallas North Tollway. I need that nourishment to forgive, not just the cynical politicians, the debt collectors, and those who profit from the addictions of others, not just the people who hurt us with their words or deeds, and not just the people who want to deny rights to others because of who they are and who they love, but us, all of us, including myself. Listen, if the body is the temple of the soul, then love is its liturgy, and forgiveness is its prayer. If you feel like making a resolution, fine. If you want to make it about your health, fine. If you want to make it about vegan cinnamon rolls, great. I'll see you at the gym. But the only resolution I hope you will consider keeping this year is to forgive yourself, friends. To forgive others as easily and as often as you eat. And if you fall short, especially if you fall short from any resolutions you have planned, I hope you'll commit and recommit to this practice of treating yourself, the beautiful temple of your soul, with the kindness and love that you deserve. And by doing this, perhaps we can transform the revolving door so often turning round and round and round this time of year into a resolving door that freely admits the love we need, that lets out more and more of the love that this world needs. This spring season here at church will be filled with ways to renew your soul. It'll be filled with ways to share this incredible gift that we have all been given of this place with those we love. Come, hear, go where you must, but do what you need to do to nourish yourself for all that is coming. And I promise you, friends, there is plenty coming ahead. But for today, I'll quote a song that we sing a lot. Come and drink a cup of kindness today, friends. And may it ever be so. Blessed be, and amen.